Final question that I received was who I thought was the best role player of all time. Now, this was a tough question. I had to think about this for a while because, once again, how do you define this, right? So I think the guy that I have selected will surprise you, and I assure you I'm not doing this for clickbait or engagement or anything like that. I don't care about that. I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys, and I think it's Scottie Pippen. Now, you might be thinking, what? 6-time champion, 2-time gold medalist, multiple-time All-Star, multiple-time All-NBA, multiple-time All-Defensive Team member, and he's considered a role player? Well, thanks for making me read out his resume, but that kind of adds to my argument. He was a hell of a defender, but outside of defense, right? He wasn't a dominant player in one specific area. He wasn't a great scorer. He wasn't a great rebounder. He wasn't a great passer, but he did all those things well, right? He helped MJ by doing a lot of what MJ did. What MJ did well, and that allowed MJ to really focus on scoring throughout the championship years. Now, of course, the first 3 years, people are quick to say that, oh, he was the best defender, and Jordan still didn't defend. Now, that's not true at all, right? They tag teamed a lot of those roles. So you see, as the first repeat, you'd see Drexler being guarded by either Jordan or Pippen, or Magic being guarded by Jordan or Pippen. People seem to think that Pippen guarded him that entire 91 series. Not true at all. He definitely did a good job on Magic, but it was both of those guys. Now, in the second three-peat, when they didn't have a point guard at all, at least a listed point guard, you would see Jordan and Pippen both bring the ball up the court and get the team to the offense. It depended on who was on the court at the same time. If Kukoc wasn't on the court at the same time, Jordan was by far and away the number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 option on offense. What I mean by that is you get Jordan running off back cuts, you get him flashing to open areas off screens, you get him in the post, you get him in isolation situations. So those options were all before you would even look at the next guy, right? Now, if Kukoc was on the court at the same time, he was such a good scorer individually that Jordan would a lot of times play point, he'd initiate the offense, the ball would be passed around, and he would pick and choose his spots a lot better. He was definitely more cerebral in that second three-peat. Now, it's kind of typical that I started talking about Pippen being the best role player of all time, and I'm rambling on about Jordan. But my point is, everything that Pippen did well, right, including on the defensive side of the ball, was to complement what Jordan did well as well. But he never took away from Jordan. He was never the primary ball handler. He was never the primary rebounder. He was never the primary playmaker. Jordan still did those things as well as scoring, right? Now, if you're going to say, well, isn't that by definition, you're saying that those are roles, plural, and we're talking role, which is singular, so role player, not roles player. Then, okay, if that's then the definition, then I'm going to go Allen Iverson. It's a great scorer. If that's his role, right? Dominant scorer, one of the best of all time. But if that's his role, then who's been better at doing one single thing? Maybe Dominique Wilkens. But, you can't even say Dennis Rodman because he was a great rebounder as well as a great defender. There's not the same with Bill Russell. Magic Johnson, maybe? He was never a dominant scorer, really, when you think about it. It makes you wonder how good of a scorer he would have been had he not played with Worthy or Kareem early on in his career. And had he had to score, would he have scored a lot of points? Would he have been? I think he would have. Also, he was never a great rebounder. He was great for his position, don't get me wrong, but he was never a great rebounder in the scheme of things. You never saw him average 12, 13 rebounds a game, for example, right? Unbelievable passer, best playmaker you'll ever come across if you ever watch basketball. But I feel a little bit more comfortable with the Pippen definition of a role player, where you sort of complement the dominant or the superstar. And Allen Iverson, definitely a superstar. Magic Johnson, definitely a superstar. Dominique Wilkens, superstar. Scottie Pippen, all-star. And in many ways, he was a superstar when Jordan left. But when he was alongside Jordan, he wasn't a superstar, although you could make an argument, or you really could, that he was the second or third best player in the league in both repeats. So it's a hell of a question, isn't it? How do you define this stuff? This is the type of stuff that makes basketball the best sport in the world to analyze.